over 15 years, Maestro Suspension Technology has been improving the performance of mountain bikes and expanding riders' capabilities over rugged terrain. First introduced in 2005, Maestro made an instant impact on mountain bikes. With the original giant Trance, Rain, and Faith, a new kind of suspension was born. From the beginning, Maestro proved uniquely active on terrain ranging from XC to downhill. But unlike most other systems, it didn't compromise pedaling efficiency or braking control. There have been constant evolutions to make Maestro lighter, more adjustable, and tunable, but it still stands on its original engineering design. With almost 2 decades of race wins, from XC to downhill championships, these victories back up our engineering principles. 4 pivot points, in conjunction with 2 rocker arms, create a single floating pivot point. So how do the mechanics of Maestro affect the ride experience? In 3 ways: suspension activity, efficiency, and independence. First up, let's look at activity. Maestro suspension activity allows the rear wheel to track over rapid stutter hits and single larger trail impacts with equal capability. Keeping the tires planted on the ground is the #1 goal of suspension. Maestro is ready for any size impact. Next is efficiency. Maestro is engineered to allow power generated by the rider to be efficiently transmitted to the rear wheel without interference from unwanted suspension movement. And finally, independence. Maestro suspension independence allows the system to remain fully functional even under heavy rear braking. On or off the brakes, Maestro delivers smooth control when descending technical terrain. Now let's go deep. In this section, we'll learn about the detailed kinematics of Maestro suspension technology. Simply put, kinematics is the analysis of suspension movement. First, let's take a look at Giant's unique wheel path. When compressing from an impact, the trajectory of the swing arm and the direction of the rear wheel dictate how a suspension system performs. Maestro's nearly vertical, steep arcing wheel path is the key to its activity, efficiency, and independence. A linear shock ratio helps keep suspension travel smooth at its initial stroke and progressive towards the end of its stroke thanks to the nature of air compression. The result is one of the secrets of Maestro's bottomless suspension feel over the full spectrum of trail impacts. Next up is anti-rise analysis. Many suspension designs suffer poor performance under activation of the rear brake. When applied, the rear disc brake can sometimes either drive or lift a suspension swing arm to extension or compression, both undesirable traits when riding through tricky terrain. Because of Maestro's calculated neutral floating pivot point, the system remains neutral to brake input, creating outstanding suspension performance. The result is perfectly balanced suspension on the roughest descents, just when you need suspension the most. Finally, let's take a closer look at Maestro's anti-squat performance. Anti-squat refers to suspension performance under pedaling force. Most suspension designs add a certain amount of anti-squat to stabilize suspension movement while pedaling. Too much anti-squat, and suspension completely locks out under pedaling. Not enough, and suspension will wastefully bounce up and down under acceleration. Getting the balance right is critical, so Maestro suspension utilizes a higher level of anti-squat through the initial 50% of travel, then regresses to less anti-squat through the second half of its travel. This results in an efficient pedaling platform when riding smooth terrain, but allows for uninhibited suspension travel on larger hits. Hopefully you now better understand the science behind Maestro suspension's proven performance, thanks to its 15-year legacy, its versatility with a wide range of bikes, and its unique engineering kinematics. It's a technology that's sure to elevate your mountain biking experience.